The other thing I'll hit on is this, and I've mentioned it briefly in the past, and at some point, obviously Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci's contributions to this organization have been incredible. I mean, they'll both be numbers retired. Bergeron's a definite Hall of Famer. Krejci, you can argue about it. Consummate pros, all those things. I am very interested in what the direction of this franchise is post Bergeron and Krecji. And I would like to see them sort of address it at some point. Now, this isn't the offseason to do it. This is not, because the salary cap didn't really go up much. You don't have much space in general. Neither does anybody else. The trade market stinks. Like, this is not really the offseason that you go out and do that and pursue, a guy you feel is a number one center or a replacement. But I would like to see this franchise move on. I would like to see this franchise move to that next generation, because this core, as good as they've been, have been around a really long time.
Yep.
Really long. I mean, this is like 2007, 2006, actually, I think. This core has been around, and they've been consistently good in the regular season. They've won a cup. They've went to two others. I think we all agree they should have another cup win on their resume.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that happens or not, I mean, it's becoming increasingly likely that probably isn't going to happen. I would like to see this franchise move on. I would like to see this franchise at some point say, you know what, it's time to get some new blood down the middle. And again, this isn't the offseason to do it. And I love Patrice Bergeron. It's nothing against Bergeron. It's just this franchise needs to move past the just propping open the window. And even last year, like, it's hard to say, because last year they were a wagon. Like, that was a team that was favored by everyone, obviously, to win the cup. Best regular season team ever. They had all the pieces. They had all the depth. It wasn't an issue last year. But now that you kind of have the fallout from it, of you don't really have first round picks for the next 2 years. Your prospect pool is razor thin with anything really talented. I would like to see this organization move on at some point. And I think they need it, because I think they need to be forced to address down the middle. What do you think?
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, people in our age group, watching Bergeron, Lucic, Marchand, Chara make their way as Bruins, and we're toddlers. And now here we are, graduated college.
We weren't toddlers. We were not toddlers.
I'm thinking like the 2003 draft when Bergeron.
Oh, yes. Well,
when that starts coming into fruition, 2007, I'm in first grade.
You know what's funny? That you're the first podcast guest, I think, that's ever been younger than me on this. So congratulations. It's a first for people. I'm the older one on this. That's rare.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying. But the whole thing is, like you said, this isn't the offseason to do it. And if you do go into next season with Zacha and Coyle, also, sorry if you can hear that. They're my neighbors next door having work done.
I can't hear it, but I know what you mean, because that always happens around here.
Great. So, I mean, Zacha and Coyle, man, in a perfect world, Pavel Zacha is your two. I don't know if he can be a number one center. Charlie Coyle, to this point, has never proven he can consistently stick as a top six center. He showed it in a small burst in the playoffs last year. He looked pretty good with Marchand and DeBrusk. Good two-way reliability. He's a menace below the dots. Like, he'll do what you need, but I don't know, especially like when you look at what you need for offensive production out of a top tier center. I don't know if he can bring that. Pavel Zacha, again, will probably get you 20 goals, 50 points. Again, 2 and 3, perfect world. Maybe a low end 2 for Charlie Coyle. And then you look in the prospect pool, and, Matthew Poitras is kind of the hope and savior right now, if he can pan out in a couple of years. But he's not close either.
No, not close.
He's got another year in the OHL. He's going to need at least a year in the AHL, because he's a smaller frame. He's got to really get used to the pro ranks once he eventually makes that leap, because this year he can either only play in Boston or the CHL just because of that agreement. So the help isn't close. And, whether it's like Brett Harrison, he's starting as a wing. Maybe he makes his way as a wing as a full-time pro. Maybe even Georgi Merkulov too. Kind of the same boat. Is he a center? Is he a wing? Like, the upside is there, but what's his floor? And so now you look at there's no guaranteed help coming unless, Johnny Beecher somehow skyrockets, which probably isn't going to happen. He's going to have a great career as a bottom six center, high floor guy. But you look at next offseason where the free agent pool, if these guys make it there, you have like an Elias Lindholm type there, where maybe this offseason, if you didn't have the cap troubles you knew for sure Bergeron wasn't coming back and you actually had some assets and you felt you could lock him up, that'd be a perfect trade candidate. But I think next season, kind of like you said, this offseason, it's just not in the cards. And if you go into next season with Zacha and Coyle, your defense is good enough. Your goaltending is obviously elite. Your wings should be good enough too, where you'll be in a playoff mix. You're obviously not going to be breaking any records. It's kind of the same with and without Bergeron too. Like the forward group looks much better with a Patrice Bergeron there. But either way, the floor or the ceiling is for this team is you're in the playoff hunt. And maybe it's the good kind of just get in like we saw with Florida last year, or it's the not so good kind of just get in like Pittsburgh would have been last year, where they probably would have just been cannon fodder for their first round opponent. But next offseason, when you got tons of cap space, you probably have a better idea of what's going on with Patrice Bergeron, either if he plays this season or if he just calls it this summer. Next offseason is definitely a time to make a move.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed.